The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting you know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, over in France yesterday, the court ruled that Cardinal Philippe Barbarin, who was actually the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Lyon, Lyon is spelled in France, was actually sentenced to 6 months of suspended prison sentence for failing to report about the sexual abuse going against Boy Scouts during the 80s and the 90s by a priest that's set to go on trial later this year. Now, this is a fucking atrocious for so many different reasons, but quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing about R. Kelly. I'm tired of hearing about Michael Jackson, about motherfucking, these quote-unquote sexual predators and all of that. Let's talk about the Roman fucking Catholic Church, man. This Catholic Church has positioned itself all across the globe, and there's obviously a global conspiracy to molest young boys and women. Like, cut it the fuck out. Where is their just due, man? 6 months? The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting you know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, a new journal published in the Cryosphere actually found that in Greenland, waterfall and rainfall is becoming a lot more frequent, and it's contributing to 270 billion tons, of ice that's being added to the Earth's ocean. So this is coming from rain actually falling onto the ice and causing the ice itself to melt. So it's looking like it's going to. You're talking about 270 billion tons of ice being added to the Earth's oceans. You're definitely talking about flooding of coastal regions that can essentially affect hundreds of millions of people as a result of what's going on in Greenland. So everybody stay woke. You know our motto: green, war, and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting you know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Hey, yo, y'all remember Bradley Manning? So there was a kid back in 2010. He actually was in the army, and he leaked hundreds of thousands of documents to WikiLeaks, which is known for exposing government and conspiracies and all of that, having documentation behind it. Now, in this exposure, it actually showed a lot of stuff about what was going on with the Pentagon and the U.S. wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of shady shit, right? And he was actually sent to jail. While he was in jail, he had a sex change, and now he goes by the name of Chelsea Manning, and actually recently ran for office in Maryland this last year. So, that's the behind-the-scenes story. But a federal judge in Virginia Eastern District actually sentenced him to jail because he refused to testify about that scenario and testify against WikiLeaks. So, if I was him, I would have said, it wasn't me, Bradley did it. Green War graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting you know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, over in Sacramento, hundreds of students from Sacramento City College and C.K. McClatchy High School actually walked out yesterday in protest of this whole Stephon Clark situation. So, as y'all know, Stephon Clark was somebody that was actually shot 20 times in his grandmother's backyard at nighttime by some police officers who were apparently responding to like a call, a vandalism call, but thought he was armed and shot and killed this man down. Thought he had a gun and it was a cell phone. So a lot of people are still up in arms and protesting about that. Just yesterday, actually, a city council meeting got interrupted. You know what I mean? So the citizens are definitely enraged because they said they will not prosecute the officers that shot him dead, hit him with 20 bullets, and then let 5 minutes go by before any paramedics came. So, it's outrage. Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, actually in West Palm Beach, Florida, a jury actually convicted Nelman Raja, a police officer, for manslaughter and attempted murder when he shot and killed Corey Jones back in 2015. He was 31-year-old African American. So the story goes that Corey Jones was actually waiting for a tow truck and having car trouble, and the dude Raja actually pulled up on going against a one-way in unmarked van when some plain clothes. And when Raja thought he was getting robbed, he pulled out a legal handgun, and then Raja pulled out his gun and shot him dead. So this is news not only because of that, obviously, but because this is the first time an on-duty police officer in Florida has been convicted of murder in 30 years, and it's definitely been happening. You dig? Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, Eddie Martins and Richard Hall actually were two officers in NYPD who, two detectives actually, who in 2017 were accused of rape after they had pulled over and stopped 18-year-old Anna Chambers, found her with some marijuana and some antidepressants, and essentially ended up having sex with her, which they claimed was consensual. Now, at the time, it was actually legal for cops to have sex with people they've detained, but currently it's considered rape. But they got off apparently, even though their DNA was found all over this girl. But you know, they couldn't make anything conclusive. So that's what happened with that. Now prosecutors are trying to see if they could get them on some bribery charges because they feel like it's something funny there. So, you know, stay tuned. Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on. So over in El Salvador, actually, the Supreme Court over there ruled that the 3 women who were actually in prison for having abortions would be released. Now, El Salvador is known for having some of the harshest, not the harshest, anti-abortion laws in the world. And obviously, this cabinet that we have in the U.S. today wants to go in that direction. But you're talking about these 3 women that were actually ordered to be released, one having been in prison for at least 8 years. These women were actually amongst dozens who have been in prison for having abortions, and, you know, have sentences that even go up to 30 years. So it's some wild shit happening over there, and we should take note of that. That's not who we want to be and how we want to look out here, man. You know, this International Women's Day too. It's all about women's rights. Let them have autonomy over their bodies. We gotta have opinions too, because it's a societal thing. But, you know, women get the first stab through Green Wall and graduation. You dig? New World Order, Bishop Grady letting you know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So it's actually International Women's Day, man. Everybody need to take time out to love and cherish the women around them, because they make this motherfucker go round. Shit, I came out of pussy, you dig? You know what I'm saying? And you did too. Now, with that said, it should be noted that, of course, you would see women actually wanting to be heard on a day like today, and we gotta respect that shit. Protests happening worldwide, pardon me. Over in Spain, they're actually protesting against, a bunch of women actually went on strike, protesting these right-wing politicians that are actually trying to repeal these gender violence, laws, essentially. So that's kind of crazy. And then on the other end, over in Paris, actually, there's a protest being led by Amnesty International, where they're outside of the Saudi Arabian consulate because they want these jailed women's rights activists to be unjailed. Because, you know, over in Saudi Arabia, their rights are crazy. They're not even trying to let the women drive. So you see how this pans out, man. Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting you know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So U.S. District Judge TS Ellis, who was actually nominated to that judgeship by Ronald Reagan, actually sentenced Paul Manafort, former campaign chair for Donald Trump, to 47 months in prison. Now, he was already in prison, you know, got out and basically had to do these trials. He got out actually saying that he was going to collaborate with the FBI, and then lied to him again. Well, this sentencing is actually just for the tax evasion and the bank fraud. He has to see sentencing next week to actually for 2 counts of conspiracy. So that's what that has to do with. But the 47 months he got is far less than the years that, you know, it's supposed to be dozens of years that you could possibly get for these crimes. So the judge cited that he otherwise lived like a pretty blameless life. But we know that's not the same case for if you're black or brown or you're poor. Green Wall and graduation. The Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the House of Representatives overwhelmingly ruled in favor of this resolution, 407 to 23 actually, that's supposed to condemn hate speech in government. Hate speech, we're talking Islamophobia, we're talking anti-Israel, anti-Semitic or whatever. We're talking like homophobic, all the phobias, you know, obviously the racist shit and all of that is condemning all of that. Now this all it sounds good, but this all stems from Minnesota Congresswoman Omar Ilhan, who actually in recent weeks voiced concern over how the government was just so overwhelmingly pro-Israel, and everybody accused her of being anti-Semitic for saying that. And when she said, well, you know, does it have to do with the AIPAC essentially like funding a lot of these campaigns. So they had to tack the anti-Muslim part on after the fact. Green War and graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady laying over what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So over in Venezuela, actually, there's a nationwide blackout that was caused by the hydroelectric power plant that was actually supposedly taken offline near the Guri Dam, G-U-R-I-D-A-M. Now, the current president, Nicolas Maduro, he's actually blaming the U.S. for it. He feels like they were sabotagers that were linked to the U.S. that actually took the dam and the power plant offline. Nevertheless, that's going down, and over here, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, he's just using this to, like, they don't have no money, no food, no power, like, get Nicolas Maduro out of there. So that's been a plan in general. So it's not far-fetched that they would have intervened, but we don't know for sure. A lot of Congress people actually teamed up to write a letter, send a letter to Mike Pompeo, urging them not to intervene with the Venezuelan crisis because they feel like it's only going to exacerbate the situation, especially for the poorest of folks. So, stay tuned on that. Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady laying over what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So over in Israel, actually, the Ballad United Arab list was actually barred from participating in the parliamentary elections this upcoming April. Now, this is big because this list actually represents a lot of Arab Israelis. It's a combination of a few Arab parties already, and they're looking at this like you're trying to stifle our democratic power. So they're trying to take it to the highest court. Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, always on the right side of history, pun intended, praised the move, saying, you can't have any people that support terrorism in the Knesset being what they call the parliament. Knesset. I don't know if it's pronounced different in Hebrew, but nevertheless, that's what he said. But it's ironic because, and some hypocritical, because they definitely have the Jewish Power Party that's allowed to play in the election, and they're connected to the Jewish Defense League, which the FBI in the U.S. actually labeled a right-wing terrorist group in 2000. Green War and graduation.